Let's face it, unreliable narrators are just fun. No one likes being lied to unless it's by a fictional character, apparently. It makes the plot itself into a puzzle for the reader to figure out. How much of what we are being told is the truth? What motives might the narrator have for skewing information? For decades, unreliable narrators have sparked discussion and analysis of books of every genre, with some famous examples including American Psycho, Gone Girl, Atonement, and even classics like The Great Gatsby. What about some of the more recent examples, though? Or some of the lesser-known ones? It's hard to know a book has an unreliable narrator just by the description alone. Hi, I'm Julia, a page at the Seneca Public Library, and today I'm counting down my top 5 picks for recent novels with unreliable narrators. Every book I name here is available either on our Overdrive app or on Hoopla, both of which you can use free just by making an account and entering in your Seneca Public Library card number. For the sake of this list, I am leaving out any potential spoilers. This includes the degree of unreliability and whether or not the protagonist is actually a good person. The only prerequisite for an unreliable narrator is that they lie or omit the truth in their point of view passages, not that they're secretly evil, though that sometimes is the case. So, without further ado, here's my picks. Number 5. Snap by Belinda Bauer. This one is listed as number 5 because it's not quite as unreliable as some of the others on this list, but it does come with an interesting twist. Part of the reason the narrative is unreliable is because a good portion of it is told by a child. Published in 2018, Snap is a mystery thriller novel that tells the story of Jack, a 14-year-old boy whose mother was mysteriously murdered years ago, leaving him as the sole guardian of his younger sisters. Jack is constantly searching for his mother's killer, and is convinced he may have finally found some proof to close the case. At the same time, a pregnant woman named Catherine has a feeling she's being stalked and threatened at her home, and a small local police force is tracking down a notorious thief that has eluded them for years. While all these plots seem disconnected, they actually come together in surprising ways, eventually revealing the truth of what really happened to Jack's mother. Both Jack and Catherine qualify as unreliable narrators here. Jack because he's only 14 and has a very limited worldview due to his upbringing. Catherine, meanwhile, is not at fault for her unreliability, she just doesn't have all the information available to her. Either way, it makes for a twisty, fun narrative where things are constantly being revealed to the characters and the reader, making it feel like you're part of the mystery itself. Number 4. Best Friends Forever by Margot Hunt. This 2018 book is more of a standard thriller, featuring a passionate, possibly unhealthy friendship between two women that may or may not have led to murder. Alice Campbell's best friend, Cat Grant, has seemingly vanished off the face of the earth shortly after her rich financier husband took a fatal fall from a second-floor balcony. Alice can't reach Cat, and she can't figure out why the police are zeroing in on her as a suspect. What is really going on? Where is Cat? And how much does Alice really know? Best Friends Forever is a classic example of an unreliable narrator. Alice likes Cat, and Alice wants the reader to like Cat too. This leads to information that is conspicuously left out in certain flashbacks and carefully worded narration that pushes the reader towards a certain view of events. While not necessarily breaking any new ground in the thriller genre, Best Friends Forever is a wild ride worth checking out, especially if you love works that delve into the complicated nature of female friendship. Number 3. The Hiding Place by C.J. Tudor. Published in 2019, The Hiding Place tells the story of Joe Thorne, a troubled teacher returning to his hometown after years spent running from dark memories and even darker events. Haunted by the childhood disappearance of his sister, Joe is unnerved to receive messages implying that someone knows what really happened to his sister, and how it's going to happen again. The Hiding Place is an interesting novel. It sets up the story one way and then completely pulls the rug out from under the reader. The book starts as a thriller, but by the halfway point it is shifted into a new genre. All of this is because Joe tells the reader some of what happened, but not the most important parts and certainly not the context. Vague language, red herrings, and a shady cast of characters ensure that you won't know what's real and what's not, even when you think you finally got the answer. This book isn't for the faint of heart, as some rather horrific descriptions can attest, but it is worth it if you want a narrative that terrifies you, thrills you, and never lets you guess exactly what's coming next. Number 2. Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. This is an older novel, having been published in 2005, and it actually also has a somewhat known movie adaptation. It is, however, in my opinion, one of the greatest cases of unreliable narrators in fiction, and for a reason that is absolutely fascinating to analyze. Never Let Me Go is a romance and a coming-of-age story about 3 friends, Kathy, Ruth, and Tommy. They all attend the quaint, if secluded boarding school of Hailsham, a place of excellent education but curiously little connection to the outside world. Kathy, Ruth, and Tommy are about to graduate from Hailsham and be thrust into the uncertain world outside. But there is something about Hailsham that they don't know, something that will change everything they've ever known. Despite the description, Never Let Me Go is not as tense or violent as some of the other books on this list, and the narrative itself is just as much about the relationships between the 3 friends as it is about the mystery surrounding the school. This is a novel best read completely blind. Even typing it in Google will give away one of the main twists just by description alone. Never Let Me Go is an interesting case of unreliable narrators because they're not lying on purpose or concealing information deliberately from the reader. The reader and the characters actually learn the same information right alongside each other, but the way it is framed is incredibly different than one might expect. The way society and the world has raised these 3 friends leads them to view certain information in a way that warps the reader's perception of the events as well, making things quite morally complicated. How do you judge something clearly wrong that the narrators themselves have somehow come to accept? Never Let Me Go is a wonderful, quietly beautiful novel about the tragedy of growing up and the reality of being human, and the vague, twisting nature of its narrative only adds to the discussion. Number 1. Emma in the Night by Wendy Walker. Sometimes the mystery isn't what the narrator is hiding from the reader, but why. This 2017 novel follows the aftermath of an apparent kidnapping and the effort to unravel its secrets. 3 years ago, 2 teenage sisters disappeared, with no leads as to where they could have gone. Today, one sister returns home, begging investigators to find her still missing sister who she insists is in grave danger. Something about the story isn't right, though, and forensic psychiatrist Abby Winter is starting to recognize that more fault may lie with the family itself than any mysterious abductor, and that the missing girl may be leading them towards the truth with a lie. This novel is an excellent, gripping mystery, constantly keeping you on the edge of your seat and making you doubt how much of what anyone is saying is true. It's pretty much stated from the start that Cass, the prodigal daughter returned, is not telling the whole truth, but the real mystery lies in exactly what she's lying about, and the motivations behind her story and her sudden return. Emma in the Night examines why an unreliable narrator might do what they do, and the power words, suggestions, and even lies can have in leading people to the truth. It is a fascinating mystery with a satisfying ending that does seem to finally answer all, but raises new questions for the reader to ponder in its wake. And those are my top 5 picks for recent novels with unreliable narrators. All of these have been personal opinion, of course, but if any of these books sound interesting to you, make sure to check them out on the Overdrive app or at hoopladigital.com, where you can rent all of these books and more for free digitally, just by using your Seneca Library Card ID. What are your favorite novels with unreliable narrators? Is it a trope you enjoy, or one that frustrates you? Let us know in the comments. I hope all of you are staying safe and healthy. The Seneca Public Library misses you, and we can't wait to see you all again, hopefully very soon. Bye for now, and keep on reading!